I loathe and despise Easter egg culture, and I loathe and despise Easter egg commentary, but I'm the first to acknowledge that I can be a good sport about it. I am wearing an Easter egg here, a 21 tie from the 21 Club, which we tackled in our first short film together, The Movies That Define New York Part 1, when we tackled Sweet Smell of Success. So I can be a good sport, I can play ball. I guess, what's the difference between an Easter egg versus paying homage? When does it kind of destroy or distort or distract from a great screenplay, great music, a great well-delivered line, a brilliantly edited sequence? Like the things that, the nuts and bolts, the grammar of filmmaking are what make a movie, give it its heart, its beating heart, its pulse. But a movie, going back to Ready Player One, all it is Easter eggs.
It is junk food. It's empty calories. It's fucking cheese curls. The reason why people, I would eat Doritos all day unless you called on me and said, Bill, I need you to go in front of the camera and you need to be in some fucking shape to do it, and you can't have a massive ring of orange on your mouth. I'd be sitting there just dissolving into a gout-ridden pile of disease and, just watching stupid things all day unless otherwise challenged to be a better human being in my dotage. And I think that Easter egg culture, is there because it rewards this. It's this little endorphin hit right along the way. It's like when you watch.
There's no translation for it in Chinese film culture.
It is a reward, a personalized reward for everybody who can watch the background of The Mandalorian. And you see a hammerhead alien walk past, it's like, oh, that's Momo Nadon, he's the guy in the expanded universe guy.
Something I recognize, therefore this must be good.
Yeah, right, exactly. I'm sure there were some of those in The Batman. I couldn't tell you how many at some point,
Yeah, Batman Year One Easter eggs, Long Halloween Easter eggs, etc.
There's a difference between, Nolan included little bits and pieces. He freighted that stuff into his work.
What about somebody who only watches Easter egg videos and doesn't watch the movies? Like, read the TV guide, you don't need a TV.
Yeah, well, that's part of, but that's the intersection of YouTube culture. That's the idea that you don't need to watch it because I watched the video about it. I'm guilty of some of that stuff too, where it's like, well, I don't have enough time in the world to see what's going on with the show. I had watched a shitload of content about Game of Thrones before I even dipped into it. I know everything. It was post-Red Wedding. I knew who all these characters were. I knew all the plot twists. I knew who the Hound was. I knew why the Hound's face was fucked up, all this stuff. That made all the difference. It's like, well, I don't need to hit the ground catching up to who Catelyn Stark is and all these people.
I can just do the old-fashioned way and read the goddamn books, which is what I would recommend.
You can do that, exactly. I'm not going to read any books. But people love the Easter egg culture because it rewards, it's an endorphin thing. It's, what it winds up being? Our good friend Kevin Marr once talked about gamification. Like if you turn anything into a small hunt with a reward system, you can't even learn a fucking language now on a phone without it having, oh, congratulations, you got 10 experience points for going through the verbs today. It's like you have to gamify everything, treat everything like an app. It means like in some ways the studios know this, that whether it's the screenwriter themselves, the director, the producers, they're larding it with these small things saying, well, look, this movie's going to be a piece of shit.
Like in a Sam Raimi movie, having a street performer playing the Spider-Man theme song from the 60s. It's an Easter egg, or is it an homage, or a bit of both? But
now, with Raimi, I can't be cynical about that. With Raimi, it's 100% on board because that's Raimi.
Well, I love it. When it's done well, he and Wes Craven had this wonderful kind of competitive rivalry in the 80s when they're both the kings of horror, when they would tip their hat to each other's movies in their own movies. You're watching Nightmare on Elm Street, Evil Dead's playing on TV. Or you're watching an Evil Dead movie and a poster for The Hills of Eyes is on the wall. Like, wait, what the fuck's going on here? How come these guys keep referencing each other's movies?
The Thing is playing in Halloween on the TV.
Yeah, and so that kind of stuff I find to be cool. I guess where they lose me is when people only care about the trivia but don't care about what is the grammar that makes an emotionally engaging story. Yeah. What sends the chills and electricity up through your arms and neck where you're just being carried along by the hand of the artist. That's where they lose me. But even you and I, we played ball with our second short, The Movies That Define New York, with all that stuff about the hobo with the high kick, with the wanted signs and Dead or Alive, et cetera, and so forth. So once again, I'm not a total curmudgeon stick in the mud who's like ranting and raving about Easter egg culture, but it's when it eclipses everything else, that's when I just vomit it right back on the screen.
It has to do with, again, who is interpreting the grammar of film, and even do they understand the grammar of film, and what's left over at this point after it having been degraded so much by shitty storytelling.
Also, with Marvel and DC both going all in on their multiverse storylines, for the next 5 years, all we're going to get is Easter eggs. Oh, that's a person from a a different interpretation of the movie that was done on TV 20 years ago, but they're popping up because it's an Easter egg. Yay, now we're all having fun. And that's what I worry about, that both franchises are just going to go all in on nothing but Easter eggs moving forward. And it's like, oh, what if you don't like it? It means you're a spoiled sport or a curmudgeon or whatever. Like, no, I just want a fucking story.
Well, the Tribbles and the blue antenna Andorians from Star Trek Disco are all Easter eggs.
Discovery is awash in Easter eggs.
It is, and it's
it
like
does not make it a good Star
the
Trek
people.
show.
Well, it's like that's not set up for the audience who's actually watching.
Star
it.
Trek became at a certain point about itself as opposed to about
Sci-fi,
exploration.
larger
when you watch
issues.
the motion picture, which a lot of people shit on, it is still about exploring the unknown. But at a certain point, they pivot. Oh well, every show or movie from now on is just going to be about old Star Trek. Well, at that point, it's just creative masturbation.